Welcome back. My name's Reverend Will Bouvel, and I'm here again with Father Chris Hardman, coming to you from Church of the Holy Comforter, where we are exploring a special series about creation spirituality. Now, we've talked a little bit about what creation spirituality is, but as I've been doing some reading, guided by Matthew Fox, who's a big supporter and influence that Father Chris has shared with me, and I've learned a lot from reading him. It's opened up to me that creation spirituality and some of the things that the Celts bring us throughout time have operated in opposition sometimes, maybe that's not the right word, I don't know, to an alternative way of thinking. And that isn't something new, that's actually something, there's been a friction for a long time. Can you help us understand the context that creation spirituality is reacting against?
Sure. There's actually been two spiritualities throughout Christian history and back into the Jewish, well, not into the Jewish time, but since Christian history. The creation spirituality is one of them. The other is kind of the fall redemption spirituality, which has been kind of primary since St. Augustine in the 4th century. He's the one that kind of promoted it, helped it to get become a part of the church and so forth. And we've kind of lived with that for the last, 1,500 years, fall redemption. It kind of flourished during the time when the Desert Fathers went out into the desert to kind of regain a sense of their spirituality and their connection with God when things became pretty chaotic.
And this is around what time are we
This
talking?
is in the late 200s into the 300s, or 3rd and 4th century. And they were influenced by a Neoplatonist, Plotinus, in the 200s, who developed a plan for union with God. And it starts with purgation, illumination, and then union. And it really means to kind of purge yourself of all that is bad or sinful, as we might say, becoming illumined about the light of Christ and so forth, and then kind of being in union with him through contemplation. And the goal is contemplation, and that's kind of has separated those people who went through it from the regular people. Now, many of them came back and worked with others, but still, it's not the same kind of positive kind of results that the creation spirituality has.
Because it begins with a kind of negative approach.
It begins with original sin. That is to say that at our very core, we are sinful from the very beginning. And the Celts disagreed with that. Celtic theologians said, no, it's original blessing, original goodness, that the Genesis story from the first chapter, it comes first, which is about original goodness. The second chapter and third chapter are about the Adam and Eve story, which is about the sin. So it's the goodness that's original, not the sin. And so we've been focusing on sin for 1,500 years. And it has not really done a whole lot to help us, I don't think. We just kind of get trapped in it, we get focused on it, and we don't really allow it to help us to reach out to others other than to tell them that they're sinful. So it's really been not good. And when we connect that with the heaven and hell scenario, we kind of get away from the earth. We're always worried about what's going to happen after we die, not worried about what's happening right now. And that's why creation spirituality is so important. And this creation spirituality goes all the way back to the very beginning of the Bible. The Yahwist, who is the oldest author of the Old Testament, one of the four strands that are put together for the Old Testament, was very much a creation spirituality. So was Jesus, Paul. That's the spirituality they had. The spirituality of the fall and redemption comes about in the 4th century when St. Augustine promotes it. Original sin and creation out of nothing. The Celts say no, original blessing, and we're created out of God. All of us are a part of God's world. So this is an older way and a more positive way. Creation is.
These two alternative paths. We talked in an earlier video about the creation spiritual path being about a positive way, starting with that original blessing. It has a negative component, which we'll talk about later, and it moves through creativity into transformation and compassion. And that's in opposition to this other model you said from Plotinus that was about purgation, illumination to contemplation, which begins in that negative space. And it's interesting that in that 4th century, this is when these two models, I would say, are in competition. And what is also happening around that time is the Roman Empire is taking up Christianity in a new way to make it no longer a religion of resistance, but a religion of the state.
Right.
And how does that merging end up explaining how Augustine's model ends up being what rules the day?
Well, when the Roman Empire, they became part of the Roman Empire about in the 330s around, and by the 5th century, the beginning of the 5th century, the barbarians began invading, and the church took over as the governing body, basically, when Rome was about to collapse. And so they adopted what we call now the heaven and hell scenario, so as to make sure that the people were in line. That is to say, if you can tell them they're going to hell unless they come to church on Sunday, then they're going to come to church on Sunday. They may not care about anything that happens there, but they're going to go. And this is what they've used. The church has been a part of that for the next 1,500 years after that. And it got worse when the Protestant Reformation came and we came to America. Heaven and hell was the way everybody was converted. That you're going to hell if you don't accept Jesus. It's that kind of thing. And this creation spirituality kind of took an alternative route through the mystics. The Celts first in the 4th, the 5th century, the 9th century, and then the mystics in the 10th, 11th, and 12th century kept the creation spirituality, along with the Franciscans as well. Franciscans have the same thing. And it's now, since it kind of lost its way after about the 12th or 15th, 13th century, and now it's coming back. We're coming full circle back to where it used to be. And I think it's a much clearer way, and it's a much more positive way. And I think the results are better because we're working towards building compassion in people, not saving them in some way for a life after death. We're making them more compassionate now, so they experience heaven now, and then it continues, after your death. So it's a whole different way of thinking about it.
And that can, I think, to people who aren't familiar with this, it can sound like a kind of a new math sort of a situation, like, we're inventing some new form of Christianity that we like better. But the beauty of this, and which is so well documented and explored by Matthew Fox in many books, is this is not only a deeply old tradition, but as you've just argued, an older tradition
Yeah.
than this dominance, heaven and hell model. And when we get to at least see the two in parallel, and as we will go back through some very ancient writers to wonder about this mystical disposition, you can start to see how that desire to dominate people overtook our faith so that we couldn't see some of these strands anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Very true.
And it can be kind of surprising to wonder what would our faith be like if it wasn't all about kind of condemning not just the world around us, but also ourselves for our original sin. Yeah. What would it be like if we began from this place of original blessing? And it's so, I think, exciting / alarming that it can cause people to be like, oh, well, that's not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, we get to explore, maybe it is what it's supposed to be.
Well, it's not. It's not eliminating the fact that we are living in sin and we have problems with that. That's not it. Mm-hmm. It's just a different way of dealing with it. Mm-hmm. And it starts with seeing yourself as being having God present in you. We just forget about that, and it's about remembering that that's the truth, and beginning to live that way, which kind of is a way of overcoming that sin in a sense.
I'm noticing myself kind of talking about these two paths because we're trying to bring out the contrast, but I do want to catch myself. I'm always quick to say that there are multiple interpretations of our scripture, and Plotinus, through this purgation, illumination, and contemplation path, created an interpretation of what made sense for those people in that time.
Yeah.
And there is another interpretation, which is creation spirituality. And it would be right for us to consider deeply what another interpretation is. We don't have to completely say, no, that other way is terrible and wrong and no one should do it anymore. Everyone should do creation spirituality. We don't have to be that severe, but we're trying to kind of illuminate, for lack of a better word, what that creation spirituality was and continues to be.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I'm excited to keep the conversation going.
Good.
Thank you, Father Chris.
Thank you.